Hello everyone and welcome to another video with me, a very tired Umbra Rays. And yeah, I haven't done much in the way of videos lately. I've been uploading my Chrono Trigger streams because I want them kind of archived. But other than that, I haven't been doing too much in Brave Exvius lately. And for anybody who would like a brief catch-up, on the global side, I did see that Lightning is a really good damage dealer. Last I saw, and I never really checked back into it because I've just been too many other things, is that, yeah, Lightning, she out-damages Xeno, I do believe, which is unsurprising for a while now, besides maybe what was my initial reaction to Xeno just being incredibly powerful. It became very obvious what Global was intending to do for the future. Just keep power creeping stuff. If something has been out power crept by what has been doing the power creeping, then just buff that thing until everything is back in line. And that'll be the same for basically everything. I do think that Brave Exvius on the global side will be heading down a path that is very similar to Brave Frontier going forwards. In that it is just going to be always just bigger numbers, and that's kind of it. And to be fair, I'm not overly familiar, but that's the way I've kind of heard Brave Frontier is. I've also heard Brave Frontier is maybe a little bit of a mess, so whatever. It's not overly important to me. What is important to me is talking about JP News, which the JP News this time, pretty slack. In the middle of summer, I wasn't necessarily going to expect really too much in the way of what could be coming for us, or, well, for JP players, I should say, but looking at what we have here, this is pretty skim pickings. We have basically a summer event for, you know, summer, makes sense. Shiosai Day Dream event, limited units, obtain the unit from missions, clear story events, missions to obtain some stuff, as well as use the Daydream summon tickets to summon Trustmogs for the free units TMRs. Who are these free units? Well, the free units are Tropical Nicole, Summertime Luca, and Tide Rainer Skaha. Anyway, so basically it's a lot of global stuff that is coming to JP, which is probably less than exciting for a lot of JP players. Regardless of how powerful this is, I don't know if Laswell is still a popular character. I guess if I had to choose between Rain and Laswell, I'd probably choose Laswell as a unit. Just because I just really don't like Rain a whole lot. And that has nothing to do with just pulling a fair number of Rains back in the day. It just has to do with I don't really like Rain's character. But looking at Tide Riders, Ska. It has a helmet, 12 attack, 20 defense, 15% water resistance. Nothing overly exciting for the JP players at this point. Summertime Luca, she has a TMR that is 30 spirit and 20% water resistance. Okay. And Tropical Nicole, who is a 5 to 7 star and the only one really worth talking about. Limit Burst, AoE Water, Spirit, ignoring magic damage, and AoE Refresh. AoE Water, in his kit, he is classified as a support unit with AoE Water magic damage, AoE Water resistance up, High Tide buff, AoE damage, and AoE MP heal, AoE Ice Imperil, and Ice damage as well. There's a couple reasons why I do not like the sound of Tropical Nicole right off the bat. He's listed as a support unit, but most his limit burst seems to be damage. So I feel like it's going to be split between the two, and it's probably just not going to be as good as either Elfim or Sweet Time Luca, and he's also a free unit. Not that free units are bad. Ishtolo recently proved that free units can be not only good, they can be really amazing. But the chances of that happening with Tropical Nicole is pretty low. Looking at his TMR, clothes, 25 defense, 37 magic, 21 spirit, 20% water resistance, male only. I don't feel like this is anything exciting. Just kind of mediocre stats across the board. Super TMR is materia, 40% magic, 20% fire resistance, 20% MP magic fire resistance when equipped with the rod. Super Dress Mastery is good enough. It's basically a 60% magic with some elemental resistance and some MP. Good enough for any mage, so that's probably what the fate of Tropical Nickel will be eventually. And if you're wondering why I'm not using beach music, I've used Costa del Sol so many times for beach events over the years, I just didn't want to do it. And plus, we're also talking about something else today. Talking about the featured banner, the banner will run from the 8th to the 16th, and will feature 2 old units, Fina and Lid, Citra and Volca, and as well the new character, Vacation Laswell. Not going to talk about why I don't like this banner quite yet, but I think most of you will be able to figure out. What is interesting is Vacation Laswell here is a defensive unit. Limit Burst AoE water damage and 4-turn AoE damage mitigation. He has in his kit AoE chance of paralyze and physical cover, single target damage and attack magic break, and 7 stars has physical cover, physical mitigation, AoE water resistance up. Trust Mastery is an accessory, 10 defense and spirit, 20% HP and MP, 40% defense with a heavy shield, or 40% spirit with a light shield. Super Trust Mastery is a heavy shield, 90 defense, 30% HP, and 80% water resistance. There will also be a one-time bundle with a guaranteed Laswell, some tickets, some cactars, blah, 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 price and such to be determined. Because in the in-game stuff, now Alum just doesn't post banner details anymore, or bundle details anymore, which is quite sad and kind of a little depressing to see that the game has gone this way, where they're just like, now we're just not going to tell you. You can find out on the day of. Used to tell us what changed. Why? Anyway, I'm not a big fan of this banner being split. Even if there is a one-time bundle, trying to maybe get your second one might be a little bit difficult. Even if Laswell turns out to be a really insanely good tank, and I mean highly above, there may not be as much of an incentive to get him, as Seghart is probably still good, but Golooth and Warrior of Light will be plenty good, even if this guy turns out to be really good, and I doubt they'll make him better than ACG, to say the least. But who knows? It has been a while since the tank. Long story short, I mean, this is a lot of recycled stuff from the global side, and it's not terribly exciting, and the prospect of shoving it with 2 very old units that are both less than desirable at this point on the JP side, I feel like this is the easiest pass banner of the year. And yeah, there are times when it's like, well, you said that about the last one. What makes this one so much assier than the previous one? This is just not exciting. Not even a little bit exciting. I could not really... I would have a hard time, without making incredibly underpowered units make this seem less appealing to try and get me to spend. But anyway, that's not the main focus of... Well, it is and it isn't, but that's not the main thing I want to talk about. The main thing I want to talk about is Star Ocean phone game, I should say. I was going to say online game, and I'm like, it's kind of true, but probably not the right term. Star Ocean Anemesis. Anemesis. People, you guys would love to comment on how bad my pronunciation is, so there you go. There's a Christmas gift early. Star Ocean, the phone game, will be shutting down on November 5th. There was this message, and basically, this isn't terribly surprising. Star Ocean has not had a very big fan or player base, from my understanding, for a long time. The Reddits and, game facts have been very quiet. I feel like this game came out and just kind of died off rather quickly and has just been coasting for a long time. There were some telltale signs with the lack of content that was being put out and whatnot, but I'm less than surprised about this. Star Ocean has never been an incredibly big franchise, and to an extent, this is the reason that I kind of want to bring this up is about Brave Exvius as well. Not that I've heard anything or think that Brave Exvius is closing anytime in the near future, although I would say that the JP side is definitely not looking good at this point. There's a couple things that make me think this. For one thing, they are basically throwing money and promotions left, right, and center, trying to get people to play, and I don't think it's working, as it doesn't seem to be bringing in any new players. The live streams have dropped considerably in numbers, so much so that there are even less downvotes in the live stream, because that's a thing. The cafe was a really big eye-opener to how very few people still care that much, at least from my part in the Osaka area, where every day that I was by it, which was, I think, 5 days I walked by when Brave Exvius was in that cafe, there was maybe 3 to 8 people in any showing over the course of a day, and, you know, just passively walking by, there was never a filled up day, except for the day that the cosplayers were there. And that really shows you maybe what is keeping people playing. Not that Miso and Zero are not wonderfully nice people. I got to meet them last year in December. I think that they are, you know, really nice to be around. But like, JP Brave Exvius is pretty much dying. And I think it's comically even proven even more by the fact that last month we had the 39 million download, and now it's the 40 million download, and it's just like, we'll celebrate anything to try and get people into this game. I mean, even the entire monthly event of potentially letting people win like $1 million yen, or, you know, getting a trip to Germany, like, the game feels really, really desperate. Brave Exvius on the JP side doesn't feel like it will survive. And if it does survive, it's only going to be because the global side is basically going to be, you know, popping it up, because JP does a lot of the development and whatnot for the stuff that comes over to global. And so there's probably a little bit of mutual sharing of finances. But unlike Star Ocean, you know, Brave Exvius does have the Final Fantasy logo on it, something that has probably kept a lot of players playing for a long time. I get it. I understand. I love Final Fantasy, and that name, that brand can be really, really good. But for players who are in the Star Ocean camp, who have been continually playing and spending money on this game, this is one of those things where you have to, you know, look at the game and realize, wow, when this shuts down, there's nothing. Everything that I put into the game is gone, kind of thing. And that's assuming that, you know, maybe somebody will do a backup of the game, maybe do a offline version, but at this point the community probably is too small to even support such a project. And Square Enix sure as hell isn't going to. So this isn't something to be like, wow, you guys should stop spending, or that you should give up on Brave Exvius on the JP side or the global side. That's not it. But this is a telltale sign of kind of the times where Brave Exvius on the JP side is not healthy. It is not. It is not in a really, really good state. The player base has been shrinking. They've been having a hard time getting more people to play the game without flat bribing and throwing massive prize pools at people. And if you're throwing, and it should be also said that over the course of August, they will give out 3 million yen. Obviously, probably not a huge sum, but it is a fair amount of money to throw into basically a month-long promotion, as well as everything else that they're throwing into it. So it just feels like I have been, for a while, kind of advising a little bit of caution that Star Ocean is a good eye-opener for everybody playing Brave Exvius, whether you are on the global side or the JP side. And remember that Brave Exvius is looking to launch a brand new game, and if the numbers are strong on that, development may just not be worth it in regular Brave Exvius. They could shut down Brave Exvius at any time. I don't mean to fearmonger, I definitely don't. More just a word of caution of anybody who is still spending money. At this point, if you are looking to spend money, put no more into these games than you are willing to lose and get nothing back. Brave Exvius, has a bigger community with some really good tech savvy people who have set up some amazing stuff, such as the Brave Exvius Equip and whatnot. And, it could be that Brave Exvius community would be able to get like an offline version or, back up everything. But yeah, it's kind of hard to be overly optimistic. I mean, Star Ocean is definitely not Final Fantasy. It doesn't have as big of a following, and even then, 4 was a pretty mixed bag in terms of quality and getting people that, I've talked with people and I don't feel like there's a ton of people who remember that game overly fondly, not terribly necessarily, but then again, I have some bad memories of it. And looking at the Star Ocean 5 was an okay success, I feel like, but not incredible. So yeah, I guess this is kind of just one of those things where I feel like I should mention again that Brave Exvius on the JP side is not in a good state, with players just kind of getting overly fatigued. I think that one of the most amazing things about Brave Exvius is the fact that it is almost in its 4th year on JP. It's crossed over the 3.5-year mark. And one of the things that I find absolutely hilarious is the idea that we still don't have Selphie in the game. We still don't have Quistis, Irving, Laguna, Cypher. These are all those characters, but, a 5-star Garnet, 5-star Kuja. There's quite a few characters. A male healer. Brave Exvius is this game that kind of just amazingly throws all these characters out every month, yet seems to constantly be just not have all the characters that we actually have wanted. And so many years in, it's getting a little comical. It's kind of funny that it took so long for Kamari to show up, or that basically on the JP side, it looks like all blue mages are going to be relegated to free units, in that, they will be, they're good in a lot of things. I would never call them bad. Kamari is a perfectly good unit. Quina has some really nice utility, but blue mages just, there's never going to be a premium grade, which is good for some people and bad for others who really want blue mages to shine. Either way, no matter how you look at it, going forward, I would very strongly advise caution on the JP side, especially if you are spending a ton. These games can shut down in a day without notice. Square Enix can pull the plug on it. And I've said, I guess the last thing I want to say before we hit the 20-minute mark and I, go crazy because my head literally hurts. I'm so tired and just mentally exhausted, is the idea that, shoot, now I kind of lost my train of thought. Is just the idea that, I guess, well, man, I really lost my end point. That oh yeah, I remember now. That I have figured that there was nothing serious or catastrophic that would happen to Brave Exvius until War of the Vision launched and it had a solid launch. As bad or as many problems as Brave Exvius may have, betting on a entirely new thing, and especially something that is based off the Alchemist Code, which is going to have some stigma against it going forward, considering that most of the trailers seem to paint a picture that the game will be very much like the Alchemist Code, which is, maybe not so good, as that game I've heard has been incredibly power creepy and necessary in the power creep. But yeah, I wouldn't expect Brave Exvius to die anytime soon. It's a Final Fantasy title. It's kind of one of the major Final Fantasy titles on phones. But I would definitely be very surprised if the JP side continued to go on without, basically just the 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 JP side to go on without global really supporting it, because there is still a bigger global player base. But I leave that decision to all of you, whether or not you want to continue spending or whether this will make you think twice. War of the Visions should be an interesting moment for Brave Exvius. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. And yeah, this music is kind of creepy, but hey, that's the reaction I might want you to have. See you next time.